Let's get into that. Let's get into the metric conversation because Memphis is barely a top 50 team in both net and KenPom. This is a team that is 13-2. They are the number 13 team in the country according to the AP Top 25. Can you make it make sense?
No. KenPom, I'm going to throw to the side for a second because Ken Pomeroy, who does the whole thing, like he has his reasons. He does adjusted offense, adjusted defense, ranks them that way, efficiency ratings, pace ratings. Right. He does all that. So I think, like, I'm not going to question his work.
There's a little more basis.
I'm not going to question his work. The net makes no earthly sense because it's based on quads.
Right.
And Memphis is second in the country behind Purdue with the amount of quad 1 and quad 2 wins they have, yet they're at 48.
Yeah.
And SMU, who they played, was 39 going into that game. After they lost, they're still ahead of the Tigers with more losses, with less quality wins. If we're going to do the net thing, right, and you're going to do the quadrant system, let's go by the quadrants and what the wins, like how many wins do they have in quad 1? How many wins do they have in quad 2, quad 3, losses? What are their losses looking like? The fact that Memphis is behind SMU tells me that that is the most arbitrary, uninformed, confusing metric in just about all the sports. It does not make sense in the slightest. And A&M is ahead of them. I think they're 38.
34.
And they're 9-5 now. They've lost a few games.
Yeah.
I understand the net matters, but it does not excuse the fact that it makes no sense. Like, that's
it
where
matters,
I'm at.
Gabe. It matters because the people that seed look at that. It matters because that is a part of the formula in which they seed teams for the NCAA tournament. It doesn't mean that it's not a weird, nerdy, arbitrary formula or algorithm.
100%.
It matters because the people that matter use it.
Yes.
That's the only reason why it matters. And that's why it's so frustrating to me, is that it's like, literally, like you said, FAU, they have...
What are they, 26th in net now,
26th in net. 26. They have 2 quad 4 losses, 1 quad 3 loss, and they are still close to
26th.
20, is it 26?
5th or 6th? I think they dropped to 20. They
26.
dropped one spot for losing to Charlotte.
They're 20 spots ahead of the Tigers, who have the second most quad 1 and quad 2 wins in the entire country. It just does not make sense.
It doesn't. Like, the net is just... I always thought that if you had more quad 1, quad 2 wins, and you had good records in those quadrants, you'd be ahead of teams that are not as good in those quadrants. That's not what it is.
That's the basic understanding of what it is.
That's
or what it's
not what
supposed
it
to be.
is, though.
Yeah.
And I just don't get it. And I think that's why there's some people that go to, like, Bart Torvik, right, who does he does the Ken Pomeroy thing, if you will.
Right.
So it's like net is one of those metrics that we have to reference and, like, talk about where the Tigers stand, but them being 48th in the net does not match their resume. They have a top 10 resume, and they're top 15 in the AP poll, yet they're 48th in net. My brain does not compute that, and honestly, there's no way to compute it. No. You can't rationalize that.
So then, what would you say to fans then? Because here's the thing: the net, I think, originally was used sparingly, like was sent out sparingly, like as if the college playoff rankings, right? They would do it once every, after a few weeks, they'd put out their first college football playoff rankings, all that kind of stuff. The fans have access to the net every single day, and so even 2 days ago, Tigers didn't play, and yet Texas A&M lost, Missouri lost, Virginia lost. Who else lost?
Everybody.
Clemson.
Clemson lost. LSU beat. Who did they beat? Texas A&M. Yeah. And it dropped the Tigers without them even playing. Dropped them almost double-digit spots in the net.
What?
So my question to you then is this: how should fans react and respond to the net?
Why does it matter?
I honestly, I'll say how should they respond? I think at this particular moment, with where we're at and how the net rankings are shaking out, in one ear out the other,
just
let it go.
It doesn't
let it
matter.
go for now. Because if you just go by the metrics that the net uses, they're better than 99% of the country as far as their resume is concerned. I know that people are going to hang on every game and see how it affects the net, but I'm just not interested in that at this particular moment because I don't think it matches what the Tigers have actually accomplished.
I don't either. I wouldn't even hardly pay attention to it. I mean, now if you look down the road and Memphis is 26-2 and they're still hardly a top 50 team or even a top 40 team at that point.
Well, but here's the thing about the net. Remember the COVID year?
Yeah.
Colgate was a top 5 net team all year. Who the hell did they play? Because they were only playing in-conference opponents. What are they in the freaking Patriot League?
Something,
a Pioneer League. Who the hell knows? I think Colgate probably in the Patriot League. I'm probably wrong. Who knows?
Who knows?
I don't keep up all that. But they were a top 5 net team all year. It didn't affect how people nationally were going to view them, how the committee was going to view them. I think there's some net rankings that just don't match up. And I think the committee, hopefully, by the time we get to March, if this trend continues, hopefully they can read through that BS.
Yeah.
That's
you're
my
spot
hope.
on. You're spot
Patriot
on.
League.
They're in the Patriot League. Yeah.
Nice. You're a genius.